It began as these things often do with an object of innocuous charm. A simple decision, a seemingly harmless purchase that would unravel the very fabric of my reality. I am or was Ilara, and this is the story of how a blanket stole my soul. The antique shop was a labyrinth of forgotten histories. Sunlight struggling through grimy windows to illuminate dancing dust motes. Tucked away in a shadowed corner beneath a pile of brittle lace, I found it. It was a patchwork quilt, heavy and woven with intricate, unfamiliar symbols. The shopkeeper, a man whose eyes held the weight of centuries, watched me from behind his counter. "Some things are old for a reason," he rasped, his voice like dry leaves skittering across pavement. "They hold memories." I smiled, dismissing his words as the quaint theatrics of his trade. The blanket was beautiful, a relic of a lost art, and I had to have it. Back in the sterile modernity of my apartment, the blanket seemed to possess a life of its own. I spread it across my bed, my fingers tracing the spiraling geometric patterns that felt strangely warm to the touch. It was a masterpiece of forgotten craftsmanship. That night, however, its beauty became a source of profound dread. An unnatural chill seeped into my bones, a cold that had nothing to do with the temperature of the room. As I drifted on the edge of sleep, faint whispers slithered into my consciousness, indecipherable, yet filled with a palpable sorrow. I woke abruptly, a feeling of deep unease settling over me as if I had been watched all night. I felt drained, a vital part of me inexplicably diminished. The days that followed were a steady crescendo of wrongness. My initial unease blossomed into a week of escalating terror. Doors I knew I had closed would be found creaking open. My keys, always placed by the door, would appear on the kitchen counter. Cold spots like pockets of winter air would materialize and vanish without reason. The whispers grew more insistent, no longer just a murmur, but faint, overlapping pleas and cries that seemed to emanate from the very walls. My curiosity curdled into genuine fear. I started a video diary, my phone's camera becoming my sole confidant. A desperate attempt to document the encroaching madness and prove to myself I wasn't losing my mind. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I began to investigate. I took to the internet, trying to identify the strange symbols woven into the fabric. But my searches yielded nothing. The patterns seemed to exist outside of any known culture or history. Frustrated, I decided to photograph the quilt, hoping a clearer image might help. But every photo I took came out distorted. The intricate patterns blurred and swirled into grotesque, screaming faces, their silent anguish captured in the digital noise. The whispers intensified. One night, a particularly clear voice seemed to call my name, drawing me to the bed. I focused on a single dark blue patch, and as my fingers made contact, a horrifying vision seared itself into my mind. The final, terrified moments of a man drowning, his lungs filling with water, his world fading to black. The storm broke that weekend, a violent tantrum of thunder and lightning that plunged my building into darkness. The power was out. Guided by the narrow beam of my phone's flashlight, I was drawn back to the blanket. In the stark moving light, the illusion shattered. The patterns were not patterns at all. They were faces, hundreds of them writhing in the fabric. Their silent screams were now horribly, undeniably clear, their features contorted in eternal agony. The whispers in the room converged, flooding my mind in a single deafening psychic scream of collective despair. It was the sound of countless souls trapped in an endless nightmare. Horror gave way to a primal need to escape. I tried to throw the blanket off me, to cast it away, but it clung to my body, impossibly heavy like a shroud of lead. I felt pressure from within the quilt, the distinct impression of cold, spectral hands pushing against the fabric, trying to grasp me, to pull me into their woven prison. My own scream was lost in the cacophony in my head. I remember my eyes wide with a terror no words can describe, reflected in the dark screen of my phone, then only darkness and silence. The final scene is not one I can recount, but one I have become. A perfectly smooth blanket lies on an empty bed, and if you look closely, you can see it. A new patch, its threads still settling, weaving the image of a screaming face that was once mine.